días, good afternoon, buenas tardes, good evening, buenas noches, whenever it is that you get to see this. My name is Miss Adri, and I'm here to teach you some stuff. And after a long absence while I was digitally teaching, I'm back. So, on this edition of Spanish Sundays, we are going to be talking about a very beloved tradition here in Puerto Rico and in other parts of Latin America, and that is the tradition of Asalto, or better known as Parrandas. So, Parrandas, yes, we have to roll those R's when we say the word Parranda. They are different than posadas. Posadas are celebrations and they are religious, mostly done in different parts of Latin America. They are very prevalent in Mexico, but unlike posadas, they don't necessarily have to have a religious connotation behind them, nor are they necessarily celebrated as a religious act, even though some of the songs that we do sing in parrandas might have a little bit of a religious connotation to it. I'm sure, and in the different things that I researched before making this video, I'm sure that we could link the origins of parrandas to a religious significance, especially when we compare it to the biblical story of when the pregnant Virgin Mary was with Saint Joseph looking for an inn in Bethlehem. Now, parrandas, like many things that Puerto Ricans do, is a little bit different than how they celebrate them in Venezuela or in other countries of Latin America. And I'm going to explain how they are different and how we do them right now and how they were traditionally done in the past. As I defined it. So parrandas are basically just a social gathering among friends, families, etc. I couldn't pinpoint the year or years when they started becoming prevalent, but they are a tradition that has been handed down to us from the past. Some of the things that I found, and I will include the sources below, are that it was prevalent already in the 1800s approximately, and the way that it was done traditionally was two ways. First of all, um, the way that a parranda is organized has not changed at all. A group of people, family members, friends, etc., even a church, get together and decide who are you going to go surprise, because the way that you do a parranda has not changed, as I mentioned, and that is that you show up at somebody's house, usually a neighbor's house, sometimes a family member's house, in the wee hours of the morning. Parrandas are usually from midnight and later, and you basically surprise them. Now, the way that it used to be done was more prevalent in the countryside, over in the mountains of Puerto Rico, and you would show up to your neighbor's house either on foot or on a horseback, and usually you would have at least some musical instrument, mostly a guitar, a cuatro puertorriqueño, which is kind of like a guitar. It's a little different, smaller, has less strings, and perhaps a flute, a flute, or any other musical instrument that the neighbors knew how to play. Everybody would quietly get around the house, or the first house, because it's usually multiple houses, and you would scream "Asalto" and start playing the different instruments. Now, the word asalto actually means robbery. I could not find why we shout asalto. I really could not. But I'm guessing that people shout this in order to get the attention of the person that you are visiting and that you're playing music for. And after you would play, you would wait until the neighbor turned on the light in the case of the 1800s, early 20th century. Maybe open the door, light a candle, light a quinque, an oil lamp, shall we say, and then you wait. Now, in the modern age, and I use the word modern because that much has changed, parrandas are certainly still done. They are extremely common. Of course, this year, 2020, as everybody knows, has not been easy because of the pandemic slash COVID situation. Hopefully, now that the vaccine is happening, perhaps next Christmas we will be able to go back to something similar to normal. But not much has changed in terms of doing a parranda. We still do it. We still get together. At least we did before this year. We still plan who are you going to visit, how many people are you going to visit, because usually a parranda isn't just one house unless it's the super party house. It's usually from 3 to 4, maybe even up to 5 houses. 5 houses is a little extreme, but I've been in parrandas where we visited 5 houses. It's a little crazy. Of course, it does become a little bit more complicated ever since we started having more closed neighborhoods, and now you have to go through the guard, etc. And it's a little hard to get through with a bunch of cars to go to the different neighborhoods, but it still is done. People still plan it instead of going on foot or on horseback. Now everybody gets into their cars and follows each other all the way to the different houses that you are going to go. Usually there's always instruments. Usually there's little things like this or little mini maracas. I have mine here, and we still scream Asalto and we keep singing. And as I mentioned before, the purpose is to wake the people up. You scream Asalto and you start singing songs like Traigo esta trulla para que te levantes. Traigo esta trulla para que te levantes. Esta trulla está caliente. Esta trulla está que arde. um Roughly translated is like, I bring this fun or this party so you wake up. My party is hot, and my trulla, my party is like hot and fun. And you keep singing, and there's a whole bunch of songs. I'm going to include them in the sources as well that are sung, and most of them have to be sung in order. The first one is Traigo esta trulla para que te levantes, or you also sing el ña, which you start going uno, 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 dos, 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 tres, cuando habla la puerta, ña. Those are just noisy songs in order to wake up the host. Well, if the friends or the neighbors turn on the light, that means that the party has just begun, or really just started. And that means that soon they're going to open the door. Usually people open their windows first just to see who is outside, because sometimes there are multiple barrandas happening in the neighborhoods and you have to check to see if it's for you and not, your neighbors. But and then when they turn on the lights, the song changes. As I mentioned, people start singing like Traigo esta trulla para que te levantes. Well, now the song changes to Prendiste la luz, metiste la pata, prendiste la luz, metiste la pata, porque ahora sabemos que estás en tu casa, porque ahora sabemos que estás en tu casa, which basically means you turned on the light, now you're in trouble because we know that you're home. So after the door is open and you are welcomed into the house, the host or the host, depending on who you're parrandeando, will join in on the singing, join in on the dancing, join in on the festivities. And after a while, you stop singing, and the host will now give you something to drink, something to eat. Usually, if it's the first house, you'll just get a couple of munchies. And after you spend about an hour and a half, 2 hours in the first house, everybody packs it up along with the people that just received you. And you do it again. And you go to the next house and to the next house. And usually it's traditional to just parrandear from 2 to 4 houses, and even 4 houses is a little excessive, but it's possible. But the cool thing is that, you started as a small group, perhaps of 5, 6, 7 people, and then it turns into 12, 13, 14, depending on how many people decided to join you, depending on how many people are in the host, the first house or the next house, etc. I was in a parranda one time that we were 35 people. It was crazy. And usually the last house of the night, house number 4 or number 3, depending on how many you went to, is visited around at 4, 5 o'clock in the morning. Yes, I told you that parrandas are done from midnight onwards. And they are in charge of giving you the asopao de pollo. Why asopao de pollo? Because it's cheap to make and easy to make. It's rice, chicken, it's a soup, it's delicious. And that's the last meal that you're basically going to eat with what's, left of the day, the new day. And you finish and everybody says goodbye. Everybody goes home, and hopefully you'll have another parranda in another moment. So I've included some videos of examples of parrandas that I found. I'm gonna link all the sources, the videos that I got them from, so you can actually see how it works. And very important, these were all filmed before COVID, so please nobody go hate on these people. They were filmed before COVID.
como el coquí, que soy nativo de aquí. ¡Coquí! ¡Que no pare el coquí!
I hope that you enjoyed that little demonstration of parrandas, and now you know a little bit more about this amazing tradition from my homeland. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and you can follow me on all of my social media platforms. They will be linked in the next slide or page, whatever you want to call it. My name is Miss Adri, and I hope that I taught you some stuff today, and I hope you had a Merry Christmas. You have a wonderful 2021, and let's pray that COVID disappears soon. Bye!